Good evening, students. Today we will study about fabric manufacture 1 lab practice passage of materials through plain power loom. Passage of materials through plain power loom, and I am Shekhar Gaddam from Sirsilla Government Polytechnic, Rajanna Sirsilla District. SRRS GPT Sri Rajarajeshwara Swami Government Polytechnic. Passage of materials through plain power loom is our experiment. Aim of the experiment: to dismantle and assemble the passage of materials and parts of power loom. So what are the parts of power loom? What are the primary motions? What are the secondary motions involved? And how do you dismantle them? And how do you assemble them? And to know the parts of the each mechanism. To know each parts of the mechanism. All the parts of the mechanism. And to learn construction and working of the mechanism. And to learn construction and working of the mechanism. So these are the this is our motto. Our motto is to learn aim of the experiment, that is to dismantle and assemble the passage of materials and parts of power loom. To know the parts of power loom mechanism. To learn the construction and working of the mechanism. Principle of the experiment: the passage of warp through primary motions and secondary motions and forming the cloth or fabric at the end of the loom. Here, the passage of warp, we can say that the passage of warp is done from weaver's beam, and then after the cloth is formed, it is taken up by the take up mechanism. So we can study that the principle is that passage of material, that means passage of warp and passage of cloth. We study both of them, the passage of warp and passage of cloth, through the fluid power loom. So it passes through, warp passes through secondary motions and primary motions. So now we will see the diagram. So please see the diagram. Here, one is the weaver's beam. Please observe, one is the weaver's beam, 2, 3 are back rest, 4 is back lease rod, 5 is front lease rod, 6 back heel shaft, 7 front heel shaft, 8 is the reed, 9 is the fell of the cloth. Here the spelling is mistake. The person wrote feel of the cloth. It's not correct. Fell of the cloth. 10 is the temple. 11 is the front rest or breast beam. 12 emery roller. 13 tension rod. 14 cloth roller. So please observe weaver's beam. First one is weaver's beam. The warp is delivered from the weaver's beam. That is known as negative let-off mechanism. So in the let-off mechanism, you will study these parts: weaver's beam, backrest, and lease rods, and all these things. So here secondary motion is involved. So what is the secondary motion? The warp is released at a constant rate from the weaver's beam with equal tension, and then the warp passes through backrest, 2 bars of backrest. There are rods, these are rods or bars. You can call them rods or bars of the backrest. So 2 comma 3 are backrest. 4 comma 5 are lease rods, back lease rod and front lease rod. 2 comma 3 are backrest, 4 comma 5 are lease rods, 6 and 7 are heel shafts. So what will happen at 4 comma 5? The lease rods separate the warp that is coming from the weaver's beam and from the backrest into different layers. The lease rods separate the, not layers, but it separates the warp into equidistant warp, so that they don't entangle with each other. So lease rods separate the warp yarns so that the warp yarns do not get entangled with each other. After that, you have seen 6 and 7 are heel shafts. 6 and 7 are heel shafts. So 6 is back heel shaft, 7 is front heel shaft. So this is known as shedding mechanism. Clearly understood? So dividing the warp into 2 layers is called as shedding mechanism. So here front heel shaft and back heel shaft, they move up and down to form the, you have seen the diamond shape in the diagram, that is the shedding portion. So here the front heel shaft and back heel shaft move up and down, lift up and lower down, one after the another, so that the top layer and bottom layers of the shed are formed. So dividing the warp into 2 layers is called as shedding. So here shedding is happening. So what is shedding? Dividing the warp into 2 layers with the help of heel shafts, by the heel shafts. So this is primary motion. What is that? This is primary motion. We have seen first, number 1, from the weaver's beam warp is released, that is secondary motion. So what are the secondary motions? Let off and take up. So you can clearly observe in the diagram, one is let off mechanism. At the number 1 point, let off mechanism happens, and at the number 14 point, the last point, take up mechanism occurs. So if you observe like that, let off mechanism is at the number 1 point and take up mechanism is at the number 14 point. So these two are secondary mechanisms, and in between these two, the primary motions occur. So what are the primary motions? Shedding, picking and beat up. Excuse me. So secondary motions are number 1 and number 14. Let off mechanism is number 1 and take up mechanism is number 14. I mean not 14, 12, 13, 14. And what is let off mechanism? 1, 2, 3. So that's what it is. Don't stick to my words sharply. So number 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, all these things, that setup is let off mechanism. 11, 12, 13, 14, this is take up mechanism. In between these, primary motions occur. So what is, I have already told you, 6 and 7 are front heel shaft and back heel shaft, and shedding happens. And after that, please observe, you have seen reed and fell of the cloth. So in the diagram there is one point missing, that is between 8 and 9 there is a dot. So in some diagrams it is given between 8 and 9, that means after the reed, after 8 and before 9, and in between the diamond shape there is a small dot is given in some diagrams, which is known as picking. So picking happens at the reed. So that is the point. So I want to tell you that shedding happens, and then shedding is one of the primary motions, and after that picking happens, and reed, number 8, reed helps in beat up mechanism. So in this passage of materials through plane power loom diagram, we can see primary motions and secondary motions clearly. Primary motions and secondary motions clearly. So six and 7 shedding happens. Front heel shaft and back heel shaft help in shedding, and picking happens, and after picking, with the help of reed, the reed moves to the front and beats the last laid weft into the fell of the cloth, that is 9, that is known as beat up mechanism. So we have seen primary motions and secondary motions. Shedding, picking, beat up are the primary motions. Secondary motions are let off mechanism and take up mechanism. So we have seen all the 5 mechanisms in this passage of warp through plane power loom. And after that we have seen temples. 10 is the temples. Temples are those things which grip the cloth, so that the cloth, so here cloth is formed, till now it is warp and weft, but after 9, after the fell of the cloth, the point 9, number 9, it is called as cloth. From till number 9 it is called as warp and then weft. They are called as warp and weft. But after at the point 9, the cloth, fell of the cloth is formed, and from this it is known as cloth. Warp and weft are interlaced at the point 9, and this interlacement of warp and weft is known as weaving, and weaving occurs with the help of shedding, picking and beat up, and here at the point 9 it is known as cloth is formed, and the cloth is gripped tightly so that it won't contract. Contraction, that means reduction in the length or width. Temples reduce the effect of contraction. So temples grip the cloth after it is formed, and therefore it decreases the chance of contraction of the cloth after the cloth is formed. After that it passes through breast beam or front rest. So you have seen 2 and 3 are back rest, and 11 is the front rest or breast beam, and number 12 is the emery roller. That means the cloth formed at the 9 and 10 will pass through the number 11 front rest, so that tension is maintained, and then it is it is wound around the emery roller and tension rod, and then after that it is wound onto the cloth roller. This is known as take up mechanism. This is known as take up mechanism. So dear students, you have clearly observed that 1 2 3 4 5, this is let off mechanism. 11 12 13 14, it is take up mechanism. 6 and 7 shedding, in between 8 and 9 picking, and 8 helps in beat up. So we have studied passage of warp from materials. Passage of warp, materials means, what does it mean? Materials, cloth and warp. Passage of warp and yarn. Warp, you see here, path of warp yarn and cloth through a loom. So that's why it is known as path of warp and or passage of warp or path of warp and cloth through a plain power loom. Now you will see the same notes that I have explained there, it will be studied here. Construction. Passage of materials through power loom. The passage of warp through a loom is shown in the figure. The warp, after leaving the weaver's beam 1, passes over two bars 2 and 3 connected by a bracket at each end. So the warp after leaving the weaver's beam, or the warp after delivered from the weaver's beam, or the warp after released from the weaver's beam. Weaver's beam number is 1. Passes over two bars 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are backrest, connected by a bracket at each end. Those two are connected by a bracket at each end. So this is the first point. Let off mechanism is explained here in the first point. Second point, one half of the warp end now passes under the back lease rod 4 and the other half passes over this rod. One half of the warp ends. So if there are 2000 ends, that means 1000 ends pass under the lease rod and 1000 ends pass over the lease rod. So that is the separation of the warp. Separation of the warp. Next, construction continued. Those warp ends which pass under the back lease rod pass over the front lease rod 5, and ends from the over the back lease rod pass under the front lease rod. So simply said that like this, it forms a sine wave like this. So like this, it passes over the lease rod and then it goes down and then like this. So this is the mechanism. So this is the method to separate the warp so that they don't entangle with each other. So those warp ends which pass under the back lease rod pass over the front lease rod 5, and ends from over the back lease rod pass under the front lease rod. So that's what I said. Next, therefore, fourth point. So these are I have already explained. Therefore, the warp is completely divided as it passes through the lease rods and facilitates the straightening of any warp ends which may break and become entangled before they reach the heels 6 and 7. I have already told you entangled. So here you see the word entangled. The warp is completely divided as it passes through the leash rods and facilitates the straightening of any warp ends. Straightening of the warp ends. So if they are like this, for example, if they are convoluted or convulsed, or what do you call, there are any twists in the twist, or any curvatures in the warp yarn, then they are straightened away by this leash rods. And if they are like that, then they may break. So and they may become entangled with each other. Entangle, one convoluted yarn or one curved yarn will entangle with another yarn, and both of them will break. So it is necessary to straighten the warp ends, and also not to make them entangle with each other before they reach the heels 6 and 7. Then they reach the heels 6 and 7. What is 6? Back heel shaft. What is 7? Front heel shaft. So construction continued. The leash rods also assist in forming an even shed. So the leash rods, what is the purpose of leash rods? They form an even shed. Even shed means uniform shed. Leaving the leash rods, the warp ends next pass through the heels. Odd numbered pass through the front heel 6 or 7, and the even number ends through the back heel 6. So front heel is 7 and back heel is 6. So suppose that there are 2000 ends, and odd numbered ends pass through the front heel 7. 1, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, like that. All these odd numbered, they pass through the front heel shaft. And even numbered warp ends 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, all these numbers will pass through the back heel shaft. So this is the way of forming the shed. So this is how the shed is formed. The heels, next point, construction and working. The heels consists of heeled wires with heeled eyes at the center, through which the warp ends are passed, the warp ends being thus controlled in their upward and downward movement. The warp ends next pass through the radiate, this being comprised of a flat wire comb with the teeth secured at both ends. So in the plain power loom, we can have 8 heel shafts. Each heel shaft has heeled wires. Each heeled wire has heeled eye. H-E-A-L-D, heeled shaft. S-H-A-F-T, shaft. So that is heeled shaft. Heeled wire. H-E-A-L-D-W-I-R-E, heeled wire. And heeled wire will have, each heeled wire will have one heeled eye. H-E-A-H-E-A-L-D-E-Y-E. So heel shafts have heeled wires, and heeled wires have heeled eyes. What is the purpose of this? Through each heeled eye, one warp end is passed through. This is also known as drawing in mechanism. This is also known as drawing in mechanism. The pass to draw the war paints through the healed eyes of the healed wires of healed shafts is known as drawing in mechanism, drawing in method or mechanism. So all the 2000 ends will be drawn through. First 1000 ends are drawn through heel lies, and the next 1000 are drawn through next heel shaft. So I have already told you odd numbered will be passed through front heel shaft, and even numbered will be passed through back heel shaft. And these, how they are passed through? They are passed through healed eyes. So each, please observe and listen carefully. Each healed eye has a warp end, or one warp end passes through each healed eye. This is the important point. The heels, I will read once again, please observe. The heels consists of healed wires, I told you, with eyes at the center. What are those eyes? What are those eyes? Healed eyes at the center, through which the warp ends are passed. The warp ends are passed through healed eyes. The warp ends being thus controlled in their upward and downward movement. So because of this passing through of the warp ends through the healed eyes, the upward and downward movement of the warp ends is controlled. So when the heel shaft is lifted, the healed wires and healed eyes are lifted, and therefore the warp is lifted like this. So this is an important point. The warp ends being thus controlled in their upward and downward movement. Upward movement is called as lifting movement, and downward movement is known as lowering movement. And because the warp ends are passed through healed eyes of the heel shaft, therefore the therefore this helps in forming of the shed. The warp ends next pass through the reed 8. So this is known as denting in operation. This being comprised of a flat wire comb with the teeth secured at both ends. In the beat-up mechanism, I have stated that the reed is a comb like we use in our daily life. So in the reed there is a reed wires. There are reed wires, and the gap between the reed wires. Suppose these are reed wires. Suppose that there are 4 reed wires, and the gap between one reed wire and other reed wire is known as dent. And after the warp ends are passed through healed eyes, that is known as drawing in operation. So after the drawing in operation, the warp ends from the healed eyes pass through the dents of the reed. This is known as denting in operation. So drawing in operation and denting in operation are the two major hard work, and it is manual work done by the workers, and this is done before the actual weaving occurs. So drawing in operation and denting in operation. So here we are studying the war pens next pass through the reed 8. Number 8 is reed. This being comprised of a flat wire comb. So it is known as a, I already told you, like comb with the teeth secured at the both ends. So I have already told you this is the seventh point is coming up. Usually two ends pass between one tooth and the next. This space being termed as dent. In this figure, two war pens are represented as being in the same dent. So suppose this is these four are the reed wires, then we have three dents, the gaps between the fingers, that means the gaps between the reed wires is known as the dent, D-E-N-T, dent. So you can compare with the dental operations. So I don't know, but just I am right now I am just saying like that. Dent means the space between the two reed wires. So in similar way we can may also say dental medicine. So like dental operation means the gaps between the teeth, that's why they fill it with cement or something like that. Just now I am thinking, maybe right, maybe may not be right. So that is in addition to the subject. So what is dent? The space between the two reed wires, the space between the two reed wires, the gap is known as dent. Construction and working continued. At the point 9 is what is known as the cloth fell. At the point 9 it is known as the cloth fell. So I told you cloth fell, it is not feel. The spelling is wrong at the starting in the diagram. It may be considered as the point where the warp and weft become cloth, because at this point where the last pick of weft which was left by the shuttle becomes beaten up. So beautifully written here. It may be considered as the point. What is the fell of the cloth? Cloth fell or fell of the cloth. What is that point? It may be considered as the point where the warp and weft become cloth. Warp and weft interlace together to become cloth, because it is at this point where the last pick of weft, at this point the last pick or last weft which was left by the shuttle, so shuttle lays the last pick and this becomes beaten up. This is beaten up by the what? Reed. Reed helps in beating up of the last laid pick into the fell of the cloth. So this is known as beat up mechanism. And fell of the cloth is the point where cloth is formed. Next point. Passing forward, the cloth is held at each side by a temple. So from the fell of the cloth it passes to the temple, not God's temple, but it is a temple of gripping the cloth. So temple, that temple and this temple, both the spellings are same, but they have different meanings here, different connotations here. So by a temple 10 which holds the cloth fell out to the width of the warp yarn in the reed from the temples the cloth passes over the breast beam or front rest. 11 Number 11, partly round the sand or emery roller, over the steel roller or tension rod L, and then to the other cloth roller, and then onto the cloth roller M. It is simply written like that. So from the fell of the cloth passes to the temples. Temple is the place where the cloth just formed is gripped by the temple on both sides of the loom. So there is a temple on left hand side of the loom, and there is a temple on the right hand side of the loom. So both the temples grip the cloth so that the cloth should not contract. There should not be any contraction of the cloth after the cloth is formed. So for that purpose, temples are there. They hold the cloth. And then from the temples, the cloth passes over the breast beam or front rest. After the temples, it passes through breast beam, so it is also known as front rest. So we have seen back rest and front rest. Back rest is at the weaver's beam area, and front rest is at the cloth roller area. So this is back rest and front rest. In this way you can easily remember the parts of the mechanism, back rest and front rest. So here it passes through the front rest, partly round the emery roller. There is an emery roller. This is comes under take up mechanism. So take up mechanism is a secondary mechanism. It passes from emery roller and then over the tension rod or steel roller, and then onto the cloth roller M. Actually in the take up mechanism there are 7 wheels. So in the next class we will be studying about let off mechanism and take up mechanism. So I will tell you a little bit about take up mechanism. So in the take up mechanism we have, what is take up mechanism? Take up mechanism is a mechanism where cloth is taken up by the cloth roller, simply put like that. But for that there is a mechanism. There are 7 wheels or 5 wheels. There is a 5 wheel take up mechanism, and there is a 7 wheel take up mechanism. And 7 wheels are like change wheel, change pinion, stud wheel, stud pinion, standard wheel, and ratchet wheel, and emery roller end wheel, cloth roller, and take up roller. So these are the parts of the 7 wheel take up mechanism. So here in the ratchet wheel there will be 24 teeth, and in stud wheel there will be 81 teeth of the wheel gear. So similarly so far we have studied in the passage of materials through plain power loom. We have studied so many parts, 14 parts we have studied. In that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 come under let off mechanism, which we will study in the next class. And 11, 12, 13, 14 they come under take up mechanism, and that comes under 7 wheel take up mechanism. So let off mechanism, take up mechanism, let off mechanism and take up mechanism, these two are secondary mechanism that we will be studying in the next class. So far we have completed negative taper shedding mechanism, cone overpick mechanism, beat up mechanism, and passage of materials through plain power loom. This completes four mechanisms, not units, four mechanisms in our syllabus. So, in the passage of materials, this is the most, actually this should be the first experiment, but I have dealt in a different way. So, in this passage of materials, you can see secondary motions and primary motions, all of them. In actually you can see temples also, auxiliary motion, one of the auxiliary motion also you can observe. Temples is an auxiliary motion. So all of you know that primary motions, secondary motions and auxiliary motions are the mechanisms or motions in the plane power loom. So in this passage of materials through plane power loom, you can observe, I am telling again and again because it is very important what you learn from one experiment. So here you observe secondary motions like let off mechanism, take up mechanism and primary motions, and also we can see temples also, that is one of the auxiliary mechanisms. So you can see all these mechanisms are present in this simple diagram. It looks like a simple diagram, but it has lot of information in it. So this is about passage of materials through plane power loom. So now we will see the video consisting of the passage of materials.
Each transfers the yarn or the filling. These include shuttle, rapier, projectile, air jet, and water jet. The shuttle loom was the first type of power loom developed. It uses a shuttle that is a boat-shaped device that holds a small quill of yarn. The shuttle is the only powered insertion system that carries its own yarn supply across the warp. The maximum speed of these looms varies with the width of the fabric, but most produce between 150 and 200 picks per minute. Rapier filling insertion is one of the most versatile of insertion types. This is due to the rapier head gripping the yarn and carrying it across the width of the shed. Therefore, any yarn, from extremely fine to very coarse, can
These
be
are
woven.
rapiers.
Also, very different
These are
yarns can be
shuttle-less
woven
looms,
from pick to pick
but
without
I have
readjusting
given
the
this
rapier.
video so that
There
you
are four
can
types
see
of
the
rapier systems:
passage of
single
materials.
rigid, double
So
rigid,
please wait and
double
see.
flexible, and double telescoping rapiers. The single rigid rapier uses a solid rod material that carries
So
the
this
yarn
is
completely
passage of
across the
material,
warp.
simple diagram.
This loom footprint requires twice the floor space of the rapier due to the fact that when the rapier is not in the shed, it is housed in a sheath external to the shed. Double rigid rapiers use two rapiers that are just over one-half the width of the warp.
Here
Each
he
transfers the yarn
explains
halfway
about
across the warp
rapiers.
shed.
We study in power loom shuttle. These are shuttle-less looms. So whatever it
This
is,
still
the
takes up the
passage
same
of
amount of
material
floor
is the
space
same.
as a single rigid rapier because each rapier is stored on either side of the loom. However, the speed can be increased because it takes less time to insert a pick, since each rapier has only half the distance to travel in the shed.
So you can clearly see the green color
Double
heel
flexible
shafts
rapiers
going
use a
up
flat
and
metal
down.
tape or high-tech composite material to transfer the yarn across the warp shed. The advantage of this system is that the floor space is reduced since the rapier storage space is reduced. Because the
See,
rapier is
observe
flexible,
the green
it is coiled into a
colored
circular sheath
heel shafts
when not
going up
inserting
and
the
down.
filling. The rapiers are
And
much
white
lighter,
color is the
resulting
reed.
in higher processing speeds.
So reed
Flexible
helps in
rapier
beat up.
looms are capable of reaching 850
This is
picks
picking.
per
Red
minute
color
on
is
single
picking.
width fabrics. Double telescoping
color is
rapiers use
shedding.
sliding or telescoping devices to insert the filling yarn. They're similar to double rigid rapiers, but since they telescope, Much of their length is stored inside
Blue
the
color
rapiers
shedding,
themselves as
red
the
color
rapier
picking,
collapses,
white
thereby
color
reducing
beat up,
the width of the loom.
green
This
color
type of rapier
heel
loom
shafts
can only achieve a maximum
moving
of
up and down,
350 picks per minute
forming the shed.
due to the weight of the rapier and the time
Blue color
required
is
to
the warp
extend and
separated
contract it.
into two layers.
The projectile filling system uses a small bullet-shaped object to
This
carry
is
the filling
another
yarns
shuttleless
across the
loom
warp shed.
known as
The
projectile.
bullet, or projectile, is similar to the much larger shuttle in shape. However, the projectile does not have a self-contained yarn supply. The projectile must be presented with a yarn which it grips just before it is propelled across the warp shed. A projectile is presented to the picking arm and is fed a yarn. It is then fired across the loom through guide teeth to where it is caught in a braking device. It is then returned
So
to the
this is
picking
also
station
please
by
see
way of
so
a
that
conveyor
you will
chain.
anyway study in the next
Several
semester.
projectiles are in use at any time so that rapid pick insertion can occur. Air jet filling insertion uses a stream of high-pressure air to insert the filling yarn into the warp shed. This is the fastest conventional method of weaving. Air jet looms consistently reach production speeds of up to 1,000 to 1,200 picks per minute on single-width fabrics. Air jet looms require very expensive profiled reeds to channel the air and yarn across the shed. Air jet weaving inserts the filling from an off-loom auxiliary supply system that accumulates the exact amount of yarn needed to travel across the shed. An initial burst of air starts the yarn on its way, and several auxiliary nozzles then help propel the yarn completely across the warp. These auxiliary nozzles are evenly spaced and fit into the tunneled or profiled section of the reed. Water jet filling insertion uses the same concept of filling insertion as the air jet. Water is used instead of air to project the filling yarn across the warp shed. Due to the higher density of the water jet as compared to the air jet, booster nozzles and profiled reeds are not needed. Speeds of water jet insertion rival those of air jet weaving. One shortcoming of water jet weaving is that only hydrophobic fibers can be used. Multi-phase insertion is the newest technology for inserting picks into the warp shed. This system uses a series of 4 air jets on a rotary drum to reach a pick insertion rate of up to 2,800 picks per minute on basic plain weaves and twills. Due to its complexity and ability to do only very simple weaves, very few multi-phase weaving systems are in use.
So thank you students. We have completed today the mechanisms.